linking up with Rhymesayers is crazy. I did one of those things that people talk about but never do, like the Hail Marys. I got offered to go as a DJ on tour with Grayskull on Everybody Loves a Clown tour, Atmosphere in 2007. Of course, I was like, yeah. And I just put out Irreversible, but I knew that I couldn't get anybody to buy it because I was practical enough to understand that. I made 10,000 demos with 5 songs from the record on it, where they could purchase the record and all that stuff. And I pretty much met 10,000 people. I wasn't standing at the door going, here, take this, take that, take this. I walked up to pretty much, it was a 2-month tour, handed out pretty much all those demos. And by the time I got off that tour, the iTunes had paid for the demos, the records were going, we were getting called by labels, we were getting called by booking agents, and it was crazy. And once kind of the smoke settled is when, you know, I actually kind of needed some advice on stuff. And I was able to reach out to Sadiq. And after he gave me all the advice that I needed, he also kind of threw in there like, why don't I put out your records? It's like, I had a little freak out moment, and that's kind of how that came about. I've known Macklemore for about 11 years. He was the second person I met when I moved to Washington. We met through a mutual friend, and then we used to like skate. We didn't even know each other rapped. I've been there through all his problems, and you know, we used to take him with us on tour, and he used to open up for us back in the day. And it is a little frustrating that that's all people want to talk about. I put out a record, and all the comparisons to the record are like, well, being, you know, one of the larger records to come out of Seattle since the heist, like, I feel like you didn't do your job, is like blah, 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 like me matching up to this. Like, man, just because he did what he did does not mean that the rest of that city, and there are a handful of people that are trying to ride that wave right now, but I've been doing this before the world knew his name, and I'm gonna keep doing it whether or not you know it or not. I think the comparison is ridiculous just because we're from the same city. That doesn't mean we're the same artists. We're friends, but we don't make the same kind of music. And so you don't have to put us in the same box.
So we get in there, I'm like, fuck it, we gotta do it, the news is here. So we get into the tank, they start lowering it down, and I'm like, this ain't that bad because the alligator is like over here on this ledge, and it's huge. I'm talking about like 15, 16 feet.
Dude, it was quite a journey to get with Strange Music in the process. Beforehand, before we even signed anything, it took us, I would say, at least 10 years before that ink dried. And lots of independent projects and shows and everything else in between, and small cars and short trips and, you know, floors of people's cribs.
I know the stories.
You name it.
Seeing somebody in the exact same place as me and watching all hope of ever succeeding fall away, and watching that progression completely stop, watching that hit that brick wall and just shatter, was really motivating and eye-opening.
And I look at this, I'm like, this is what I think this is. I look over to the crowd, and I see this guy in the crowd like, so I'm like, oh, this is ecstasy, what the fuck? Like, he was just making it rain, X pills. He's like, for you.